an example of a question that can come on your test. So they'll give you the verb enseñar, they'll give you the direct object nosotros, and then they'll give you this will be the indirect object, so I'll underline this in purple. So a nosotros. And then they'll give you the direct object, which will be el concepto. And then they'll ask you to form the command. So what will be the command? So first we have to put the enseñar into its tu command, which will be enseña, nothing special. Enseña, right? What comes next? According to RID, the indirect object pronoun comes next, which will be nosotros, a nosotros, so enséñanos. And then el concepto is the direct object, so I'll put the lo at the very end. Enséñanoslo. And this is one of the examples that I just covered. Accent goes on the sobre esdrújula. Enséñanoslo. Alright, so if you're able to do these kinds of questions, you're set. Alright guys, so now we're going to get into the negative pronouns. If you still need help with the positive ones, all the good questions are down below. They're also on my Facebook page, which I just created, so check that out. But we'll be using this sentence and converting it into a negative command. So as you can see, I use the usted here. If you do not know the usted commands, no worries. You can just do it with tu and then change this to a te, because that's the reflexive pronoun. Hint, there's a reflexive pronoun here. So I'll be doing it with usted. Cool. So what is our usted command in the negative? No ponga. Right? And why do we have ponga? It's because poner is in the yo form, it changes to pongo. So we take off the o and then we add the correct a, because er to a. And if you don't know that conjugation that I just did, feel free to watch my two commands part 2. Same conjugations. Right? No ponga. Cool. And why did I leave such a big blank here? So I left this big blank because we have to put the commands before the verb. We cannot put them attached just like how we did it with the affirmative ones. We have to put it before the ponga. And we use the RID order. We always use this RID order. Reflexive, indirect, direct. So what do we put here first? Do we have a reflexive pronoun? Yes, we do. We have se, right? Ponerse la ropa, or here is ponerse las botas. So we have to put the se first. So I'll use purple because I only have 3 markers and I can't use magenta. So se is our reflexive. Okay. Do we have an indirect object pronoun? No. There's nothing here. And we do have a direct object pronoun, las botas. So the answer will be no se las ponga. Do not put them on. Alright? Cool. Alright, so this is how you do a negative command. For lack of time, I'll skip over this. We're going to go into nosotros commands next. Tons of questions down below. Alright, so for nosotros, you might have learned it. You're just using the same conjugation that the subjunctive conjugation, and I covered them all in my two commands part 2. All those commands are being used everywhere, and you might have learned the nosotros command. If you're following Avancemos, you should have learned it in 2.1. Okay, so I won't go over those. So for example, if we're using organizar, right? The conjugation will be what? Organicemos. Right? Let's organize. Let's organize. Okay, so this is our nosotros command. So the new thing that you're going to be learning in this lesson with the pronoun is with the nos. So with the nos, if you're adding a nos at the end of this, something changes. I erase it because I don't have space. Organicemo. And then we take off the S when we're adding a nos. And then you add the nos. organicémonos. And by how I said it, it'll be organicémonos. It's esdrújula, if you remember that still. So, organicémonos. This sounds familiar. If you watch Dora, she says vámonos, right? Notice how she took off the S here, right? So it's a vámonos. And if you are paying attention really well, you'll know the subjunctive conjugation of vamos of ir is vayámonos. So vayámonos is actually the grammatically correct way of saying let's go, but vámonos is also very commonly said everywhere, and by Dora. All right, now we're gonna do the impersonal se real quick, and then we're done. All right, guys. So last thing we're covering is the impersonal se. So impersonal se is essentially what you can think of is the Spanish passive voice. So in English class you might have learned the active voice versus the passive voice. So by passive voice, this is an example. Spanish is spoken here. So the active voice would be he speaks Spanish here or something, right? But Spanish is spoken here means that you're saying is spoken. That's a passive voice. That indicates that it's in passive. So what will we do here? We add the se, the impersonal se, which means that you're not specifying a subject of who's speaking the Spanish. And then you'll conjugate this into the third person for just, we don't really know who it is, so we'll say the third person. So, se habla español aquí. And you can also translate this into English like this. One speaks Spanish here. Spanish is spoken here. You might have seen this on walls or, on websites. Something like that. Se habla español aquí, so that people know that they do speak Spanish in businesses and such. And another example is se publican todas las entrevistas, means all the interviews are published. That's another example. Alright, awesome. Hasta luego. Hope this helped. Thanks. I don't even know why I